Good morning and welcome to Member Focus Monday. I'm Christina Schaefer, Director of Social Media for HAR, and I am joined this morning by Nathan Goble, MLS Project Manager for HAR. Welcome back to the program, Nathan.
Thank you for having me, Christina. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you so much. It's been about a year since we had you on, and there's been so many changes that have taken place within Matrix, and of course more to come. So we thought it was a great time to have you on the program so you can fill our members in on all of the changes within Matrix, and also maybe share some tips and pointers on some features they might not be using. So
Absolutely.
yeah, so we've got a lot planned for today. Before we get into everything, though, Nathan, for anyone who doesn't know you yet, tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, and what you do.
I'm Nathan Goble. I am the MLS project manager. I've been with HAR for more than 20 years. HAR is all I've ever known. I got hired at HAR 6 months out of college, and I've been here ever since. I'm responsible for the implementation of all projects related to the MLS. I also lead the quality assurance team that is responsible for enforcing our rules and regulations and assisting member with day-to-day issues.
Very good. Thank you so much. Now, your team has grown quite a bit in recent years, I believe, but and there's been an increase in membership. Can you tell us about how your team has really, handled the increase in membership over the last few years?
Well, certainly. When we first started, we were two in quality assurance, and as of about 2 years ago, we've grown now to 11, and we've done that to match the growth of our members to be able to continue to provide that service that our members expect from HAR. And those 11 staff are solely responsible for MLS and assisting them with MLS related issues. In keeping that support, we offer phone support and chat support 6 days a week, and we respond to emails within one business day. In addition to that, we also have contracted CoreLogic to provide a help desk that does technical support for Realist and Matrix 7 days a week. And then we also track all of our interactions with our members so that we can stay ahead of any trends or issues that our members are experiencing and try and be proactive in resolving those problems.
Very good. And, I watch over all of our social media, and I feel like if there was ever an issue or people weren't getting their phone calls or emails returned, I feel like we'd see it on social media, and I never see anything about your department on social media. It's amazing.
It's a great thing to see. We actually check the platinum board once a month to see if there's anything we're missing. And so it's nice to see that we're not.
It's very good. And quick hold times. We really don't have to hold very often. So very good. So one question that again, going back to what I see on social media, we get this question a lot on social media. Some people are confused about how to report MLS violations or maybe the most efficient way to report MLS violations. So can you tell us what do you recommend for somebody who wants to report that?
Well, the primary I recommend for our members to report things is to use the report it button. It's a little yellow triangle that's above every single detail page. They can click on that, and then there's a list of things that they can report that are default, and there's also an other, and they can provide details to report that. Once they've hit submit from there, it gets submitted into our daily queue, and someone in the quality assurance team is going to review that, and we'll send a notice. And just to give you a little statistic, last year, more than 8,500 reports were sent through that little triangle right there, resulting in about 5,000 correction notices being issued. Our request when you do submit that is if it's not obvious, please submit as much information as possible and provide documentation where needed. It helps cut down on the time for us. If you don't use the report it, you could also email us at mlsqa@har.com, and we'll respond to email there as well. And once a correction notice is issued, this is something some complainants may not be aware of. They get 5 days to correct the violation notice. So once they're notified, it's not like they have to fix it today. They have a grace period to fix it before they may be fined. And in addition to the listing agent being notified, we notify the office manager, the broker, and the admins for that office, all in an attempt to get that data corrected as quickly as possible, because data integrity is paramount to our members.
So you mentioned data integrity. I mean, is that the reason that you have these MLS rules and regulations?
Absolutely. Having accurate information makes it easier for your searches, makes it easier for your comps, makes it easier for your listing presentations with your sellers. If that information's not reliable, that's not usable.
Very good. Question came in from Rashonda. She's asking, is there a way to report agents or brokers that do not pay the commission as advertised in the MLS?
Well, the recourse for not being paid the commission that's offered in the MLS is arbitration, and so you would contact TAR and you would look to file an arbitration with them, and you would use the MLS documentation as your evidence of this was the compensation being offered in the transaction. This is what I was paid, and I want the difference. I mean, the first recourse is obviously to try and get it, resolved with that broker. But if it's not getting resolved, TAR is where you need to go next.
Very good. Val is asking, are the violations, are those anonymous? Are they reported anonymously?
When we send out the notice, it is anonymous. Of course, we have your information on the complaint so that we can follow up with you if we need more information. But the person being notified will never know who reported it. And we get our reports from three sources. We get it from you, the member. We get it from consumers, and we also get it from the system. We have an internal system that is looking for our own flags to notify, so they don't know which one it's coming from.
Very good. So speaking of those violations, what are some of the most common reports that you're getting so that maybe our members can try to avoid those?
Well, when it comes to the ones that are reported through the system or reported through the Report It, the top three that come to mind is failure to report sale. That's always at the top. So when I first started, it was one of the only things we ever notified for was not reporting the sale. And it's because it's such a critical piece of the MLS. It's important for the future comps or future sales, being able to validate that sales price. And so they'll use that within days or hearing that a property's closed, or it's the buyer's agent themselves reporting that the listing, hey, it's closed and funded. We need to get that in there. The next one's invalid photograph, and agents report this frequently where there's visible contact information like a yard sign that is positioned perfectly so that the phone number for the listing site is there, or altered images, but they're not saying that they're altered. So our rules allow you to put an altered image into the MLS, but you also have to say it's altered and post the original with it. And some people aren't doing that, and that's creating a disconnect when you see a brand new lush lawn and you go to show the home and it's brown grass. That creates a definite disconnect. And then finally, for productivity purposes, wrong selling agent is the one that is reported frequently, and that's where you weren't given credit as on the buy side of the transaction, and you want that credit. They're using Report It and sending that information in to us, and then we work to get it corrected.
Okay, very good. So when you mentioned the altered photos, does that include virtual staging?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, any of that. The virtual staging where you're adding in furniture, and alterations could be anything as simple as changing the color on the wall to adding a pool that doesn't exist, and anything in between.
Very good. So let's talk about some recent updates to Matrix. And when I say recent, within the last year, because it's been a year since we've had you on this program. So what are some updates since the last time you were on our program?
Well, a lot's happened in the last year. We do a lot of work in the back end because with our member growth, we're now at 47,000 members in the MLS, and we have to maintain server integrity. I did a check last night, and we're averaging about 15,000 members are logging in every day. So we have to be able to make sure that performance is equal for everyone at any time. But thinking back to about a year ago, the biggest thing that happened, after I was last on here was the San Antonio data share. We launched that in May, and that came with a key reciprocity, meaning that all you have to do is join our MLS, and your super key will open any lockbox in the San Antonio market. That really opened the doors for members to research properties and show properties in San Antonio. After that, we added the member benefit Cuba Casa. This was a result of the NAR home survey regarding what are some of the most important features to home buyers, and floor plans was right at the top of their list. So we went to work on finding products that we could provide our members to make it easier to do that. We then worked with technology to have an indicator be put on HAR.com on listings that have floor plans so they could be called out for having that enhanced content. As we do every year, we updated our school boundaries. For those that may not have heard it last time, we monitor the entire state for school boundaries at the elementary, middle, and high school, and we publish those, and we're already hard at work on doing this year's, and there's going to be a lot this year. Next, we added a new layer in Matrix, the first new layer in I think 2 years after ETJ. We added the Public Improvement District layer. This one was added based on member feedback that they were searching for a way to find PIDs and they were struggling with it. So they put that on us, and we found a solution. And as a result, we put a layer in about October, November last year. And it auto populates listings, and will, if your listing's in a PID, it's going to say what PID it's in. And then we also publish the information about those PIDs underneath the tax button so that members could have that PID information to fill out that mandatory disclosure form. Next, and probably more exciting than the PID, is we worked with technology to implement an AI property description feature that allows listing agents to enhance their existing public remarks and have AI, beautify it and maybe make it a little longer. And then even after that, allow you to post it directly into Matrix. So you don't have to just create the remarks and then copy paste and put it in there. With just 2 clicks, you have your remarks updated into the MLS and everywhere else out there. So that was a great enhancement. Finally, we had to publish, 2 weeks ago or a week ago, that we updated Matrix to have more responsive design pages. So if you have a larger monitor or you're working on multiple screens, you can it takes up more of your space, more of the space as it should, and you can take advantage of it. And my favorite part about these responsive design updates is that it's optional. If you don't like the new look or enhancement, then turn it off, and you don't have to see it.
Very good. Thank you so much for those updates, Nathan. We had a few questions and comments come in that I want to briefly address.
Sure.
Janie is asking, where can I find the MLS rules so I can update myself periodically?
There's a couple ways you can do it. The cheat that you can do is you can Google HAR MLS rules. But if you're looking inside the system, inside members only portal, you could search MLS rules, and then inside Matrix, there's a widget on your homepage called external links, and there is a entry there. It's MLS rules and regulations.
Very good. Erica is asking, so going back to the altered photos, Erica's asking, so do you need to put the stage photo plus the real one back to back? So can you just clarify how they need to label those?
If you're doing an altered photo, you would need to have it next to it. The only additional piece about the altered photo is it can't be the primary photograph. So you can't have that altered image as your first photo. Regarding virtual staging, just a moment. Virtual staging is, the only thing you have to do is clearly indicate in the photo description the image has been virtually staged. So that's where I separate virtual staging from an altered or photoshopped image. So virtual staging is just putting furniture into a room that may not have furniture. And then photoshopping is putting something that doesn't exist that's normally a permanent fixture of the house. And so for virtual staging, you just have to add a description statement on there that says this image has been virtually staged. If it's an altered image, you have to state that it's an altered image and also put its original after it.
Okay, very good. Thank you for that clarification. Dana's asking, is there a difference in access between having a membership with ABOR and the new collaboration HAR has with that MLS?
Well, this is getting into the new features, the new things coming up, but so we can talk about that. It's the same thing with the SABOR agreement, that we have. The key share went live 2 weeks ago, so your key is already updated to open up any key that belongs to the Austin MLS. And that's to, of course, make sure you understand this. There's other MLSs around Austin, and it's not for their keys or their boxes. It's only for Austin-based or Austin Board of Realtors MLS product. I think it's called Unlock MLS is their full name. But as far as the membership, the guarantee of compensation, you need to be a member of both MLSs. You're only guaranteed the compensation that's in the MLS you're a member of. So if that is important to you, you need to continue being a member of Austin and Houston. As far as the listing content, we're looking to have that added to Matrix, our system, in the third quarter. And so then you would be able to search for Austin properties in our system without having to join their MLS. And so then you would need to make that business decision as what's best for you at that point.
Very good. Thank you for that. And just a comment that came in from Val. She said, I used my Supra in Austin last week with a client. So awesome. Love the reciprocal agreement between ABOR and SABOR. So
Awesome.
I just wanted to share
That's
that.
Great. I love hearing it every time. I mean, we're just trying to open up the doors. That's my favorite part.
Yes, very good. So another question that just came through, Kevin is asking, can you clarify the MLS rules about coming soon, what we can and cannot do?
Just a second. Yes. Sorry, I got a puppy. She just woke up. Anyway, I apologize. For coming soon, so what you can and can't do. Well, you have to have a coming soon listing in the MLS within 1 business day of any kind of public marketing. That's clear cooperation. I want to set that first. If you put a yard sign in the property, if you put a Facebook post, if you send a mailer out to anyone, you have 1 business day to put it into the MLS, not 24 hours, not one calendar day, 1 business day. And so where that takes effect is if you put a yard sign on Friday, you have until Monday to get into the system. So as to what you can and can't do, you can market the property all you want. You can send out anything you want at that point. You've come satisfied, clear cooperation. You can tell anybody about it. What you can't do, and this is something we've started to get complaints about, is you can't have an open house while it's coming soon. And you cannot have a showing while it's coming soon. If you're going to have an open house or a showing, which you are certainly allowed to do, you just need to click your listing over to the active status. So it's not that we're preventing that from happening. It's just saying not in the coming soon status. You're no longer coming soon if you're bringing over potential buyers to see the property. You're now active and on the market. And that would need to be that change, or you'd be in violation of Rule 2.
Okay, very good. Another question that just came in from Almas. She is asking, going back to Austin and San Antonio, would you be able to list properties for Austin and San Antonio?
Yes, you would. So if you listed a property in our MLS, it's going to appear in the other 2 MLSs, and that is even if it is a San Antonio listing or an Austin listing. And on the flip side, vice versa. There's 7 active properties in Harris County that are from Sabor. They're not in our system at all. They're from San Antonio agents. So it's a both ways. But what you have to remember is that you're only offering compensation, or that guarantee of compensation is being offered to the MLS you listed it in.
Okay, very good. Thank you for that. So what other updates are coming soon to Matrix?
So in addition to Austin, which was the big thing that's coming in the third quarter this year, where we've already started working with that. I know we discussed the modern search before, and it hasn't come out yet. And the reason was it was near releasing, and they showed us a whole new set of features and polish that they put on it. And we figured, why deliver a half-finished product and then update it later? So we'd rather deliver it once in a great state. We're getting updates on that next week, and we hope to have this launched in the second quarter. And we're committed to getting that out in the second quarter, because it's all intents and purposes is ready. We're just waiting for the new features to be added in. We're also just started a project that we're working with the technology department to overhaul the legal subdivision field. This is a big project. It's about 12,000 subdivisions in that field, and we're looking to tie it to a layer inside of Matrix. It probably will go through a few iterations before it's live, but we're looking to add a new layer in Matrix that will show you these subdivisions that are on HAR.com individually as one continuous layer, and then have it auto-populate or look at having it added to your listing record from that information. And of course, there are many other updates that are coming this year that we're just not quite ready to talk about.
Okay, very good. Another question here from Almas. Are you thinking of getting in Dallas MLS?
We have discussions going on with the Dallas market, and as we've said every time it's come up before, and I know it'll come up 100 more times, is we're open to talking to any MLS that wants to collaborate with us.
Okay, so insert any city there, really.
Right.
And Claudia was also asking another question about Dallas. Would you be able to show properties in Dallas as well?
If we can get the similar license agreement that we have with San Antonio and Dallas, that would be the objective. I think that the two go together. If you're looking for properties, you want to show the property.
Right.
So yes, that's the goal.
Very good. Jenny is asking, is there a potential that Matrix will include Comgate commercial listings?
That is a much more difficult question. Comgate is developed by an entirely separate vendor and managed by an entirely separate department. If it ever becomes feasible to have the two live in one system or live in one area, that's something we could look at taking on. We just have to make sure, if we ever did something like that, that the delineation of rules being applied to residential versus commercial was intact.
Okay. Another question here. Is there any chance we can get a feature that allows people to search by drive time instead of just miles?
Well, you can do that on har.com, and
Mm-hmm.
you can use that on there. That's where we have the feature integrated. We can take another look at the cost analysis of that feature being added into Matrix. But when we look at the usage of it, there it seems to be more niche than people realize. It's not used
Mm-hmm.
as much. It's a nice thing to say you have, but then very few people use it.
Right. Okay. So to clarify, that can be done on har.com and the har.com app.
Right.
Yes.
And if
Very
you
good.
live in Houston, I don't know if you can trust it.
Changes daily. Question from Lily. Sorry there. Have you been able to see data on international listings? What are the top 3 countries being searched for, and where are people searching? Is there any data on that, or where can we maybe find data on that if you don't know that offhand?
Well, I do not know that offhand. I would defer to the global advisory group to get that information. It would be a combination of information from the MLS for global listings, and then from, more importantly, har.com to see what kind of traffic we're
Mm-hmm.
getting on those international listings. And so I would follow up with them to see if they can obtain that information.
Okay, excellent. Um, Another question here from Samantha. Would we be able to get a feature that shows what flood zone a home is in instead of having to click on an individual property?
I don't see that coming anytime soon.
Mm-hmm.
This topic has come up before, and and I understand the need
Mm-hmm.
for, or the desire to have it. The issue at hand is, one, is that the information's on the seller's disclosure, and so it's for the seller to be disclosing, and keeps the liability off of the listing brokerage for
Mm-hmm.
that flood information. And then, more importantly, as someone who's researched flood information extensively, FEMA flood maps are not as accurate as they appear.
Mm-hmm.
And so while we rely on them because they're our single source of data, there's many exceptions to a flood zone, and that exception information is not represented on a map. And so if your property has been rezoned to, say, zone X, and it's out of a floodplain, but it was an exception that was granted to it, it could be 10 years before the flood map updates to actually show your property isn't in flood X.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no way for you to get that information and display it in any meaningful way, which could be more harmful to that property than it should be. And
Okay.
so flood data, I believe, is an individual property analysis.
Okay. Very good. A couple more questions that are coming in, and just want to address. Almost was asking when the CRM is coming. We know that it is in beta, and we can maybe share some information. But and I know you don't deal with the CRM directly, but if you might know some information, Rhonda's asking, is it available or planned that we would be able to feed our search emails, so auto emails, into the HAR CRM? Is that something that's coming down the road?
I would say it's in the roadmap. The
Mm-hmm.
the data set and information that's available to the CRM is totally inclusive of everything you do on har.com, as well as what you do in the Matrix platform. And I
Mm-hmm.
can tell you that the information in the Matrix platform is already available for use in the CRM. That's one of the future phases of integration. But right now, as Christina said, we're in the beta, and we're continuing to do testing, and we have major updates that are coming soon. But I'll leave that to technology to provide those updates.
Okay, very good. Thank you. All right, so you've shared the changes to Matrix, you've shared what we can expect in the future. One thing that I think is important for people to pay attention to, obviously, we need to stay updated with the market, and there's features within Matrix that can really help with this. So, what features or tools within Matrix do you recommend our members use to stay up to date with their market?
The 3 top features I recommend is, number one, everyone should be using the Market Watch inside of Matrix on the homepage. You can customize each of those property classes to be exactly what you're looking for, your specific farm, or you can use all to have a second one. And then you can use the time frame to indicate whether you want to see what's happened in the past 24 hours, today, past 3 days, or 7 days. And then you can click on any of those Market Watch features and see those listed properties and analyze that information and go from there.
Mm-hmm.
This is helpful for the past 7 days. Going to persistent or specific property, you can use auto email. Set yourself up as a contact and then start setting auto email farms to yourself, given zip codes, given subdivisions, given schools, whatever is important to you that you want to be able to be notified for. The ASAP notification in auto email runs every 15 minutes. So you'll be no more than 15 minutes behind a new property or a price change. And then finally, statistics. If you're looking for the macro, this is like where you want to maybe see how the sales have trended over the past 5 years, or the price has trended over the past 5 years. You put it in there, you put your market in there, and then you get that information out. One of my favorite features here is to use the data tab at the end to export it out, so that you can put it into other marketing platforms or Excel and beautify that chart, because that what you just showed was not the most elegant chart for use with your, say, a listing presentation.
Okay, very good. Well, what other features within Matrix do you recommend our members pay attention to or be using on a regular basis?
So the first one is the one that I always talk about everywhere I go. It's months of inventory. Always look at your months of inventory. We've had a bunch of negative months for the MLS as a whole. But if you go to market reports and then go to months of inventory, run your own market, and then you're going to see a different picture. And it helps you in two ways. One, it gives you the market health of that area that you're looking at. And two, it gives you an idea of how long of a listing agreement you may need. The lower the months of inventory, the lower shorter listing agreement you may need. If your months of inventory is 9, a 6-month listing agreement may not do it based on the market behavior. The next one is one that's underutilized by producers, is the agent productivity report. This report allows you to see every listing you've been given credit on as a listing agent, co-agent, sell agent, and co-sell agent. I'd run it every quarter, and if you're a heavy producer, I'd run it every month. And every listing you see that's missing, report it into us, either by using that report it button mentioned earlier or by sending us an email. And then we will work to get it corrected, because that productivity is what's used in our ranking reports, our top producer report that we put out quarterly, and it's used by recruiting. And then finally, a new feature that we slipped in there into the system is called Select Layer as Shape. And this is a new feature that allows you to click on most polygons. So you're searching the map and you're looking around and you have the elementary school layer on. You want to see what's going to Tamarind Elementary School. So you click on that little finger pointer up there, and then you click on that actual polygon and it draws it for you, and then automatically shows you the properties that would match for that. This saves time for attempting to draw that predefined area, which you had to do in the past. Now, the only drawback is that this feature is only available for certain layers. So it's not available for flood. And that's too complex of a shape. When the shapes get too complex, the system is not able to draw it for you. And so there's a couple other layers that you may not be able to click on the polygons, but elementary school definitely does. Geo element, geo market area, things like that, they work right out of the box.
Very good. I wanted to address a couple comments and questions that came in. First of all, Carolyn said, awesome, this is so helpful, and I agree.
You,
I love that layer as a shape that you just showed us. That's very neat. Caitlin is asking, can we get texting notifications for auto searches? Many clients don't sit on email. It would be great if they could get a text.
It's something we're looking at. We're looking at a way to address that shortcoming in the Matrix system. I know that you're not the only one that's asking for that, Caitlin. So if we can deliver that, we will.
Okay, very good. A couple more questions here. And actually, I know you'll probably talk about this a little later, but because two people have asked, Jim and Almas are both asking, where can we get training for all of these updates that you're mentioning?
So the training for these updates is you go to hr.com/edu, and all of the stuff that I'm covering here is effectively covered in the Matrix 1 and 2 courses or the CMA. Sign up for those courses. They're great hands-on for learning these materials, and I couldn't recommend them more.
Okay.
In addition to that, we also have the HAR TV channel that we have a lot of short videos and training videos that show you how to use various products throughout our system.
Very good. Thank you for that. Dimitri is asking, what are steps for an agent to search properties in a specific key map area if and when they don't know the particular key map? Where can they go in Matrix to determine those boundaries?
So there's two things you can do. If you know a specific property that's in the area you're looking at, look up the tax record. The key map is on the tax record, so you can see what page and grid quadrant it's in. Another way you could do it is, the layer we just showed the layers a moment ago. One of the layers we actually have in Matrix is key map. And when you're zoomed out, it'll look like a bunch of boxes. But if you zoom in, you can actually see what the number is for that key map. And then you can use that to search for your values.
Okay, very good. Rhonda was asking, does the drawing feature work for subdivisions?
Well, the drawing feature to manually draw works for subdivisions. We don't have subdivision level inside of Matrix at this time. If we are able to make it work, we will. That's something, Sean and I have always wanted all of the values on a map to be clickable, because we think that's more efficient and more visually appealing than looking at a list box of 10,000 values and trying to find the right one, rather than just looking at you're like, I want that one. That's what we want to be able to achieve.
Okay, very good. Well, we've had a lot of feedback today and suggestions for Matrix. What is the best way for people to submit feedback for Matrix?
There's two ways to do it. The easiest way is when you're inside Matrix is to click on the HAR feedback button that's at the top of top of Matrix in the little red bar. That'll open up a little question guide. I think it asks 4 questions, and hit submit, and that comes to me. And then we review that feedback, and those suggestions are reviewed by the MLS advisory group that, if approved by the board of directors, will be implemented as soon as possible. The second way, which is basically the same as the first way, is to send us an email at harfeedback@har.com.
Okay, harfeedback@har.com, and I'm sure we can put that in the chat as well. Thank you so much for that, Nathan. So again, we mentioned training opportunities, and we did share a link to some of the training courses that you mentioned in the comments as well. How can members get support if they're having difficulty using any of the features that you've mentioned today?
So during business hours, using the chat in the members only portal is great, because it's a direct connection, and you can share screenshots back and forth for the issue you might be having. It's a little more interactive, or you can give us a phone call. The average hold time in quality assurance is under a minute, so you're going to get a rep pretty quickly. If you're having a true technical issue, you're seeing a big error screen or something worse than just how do I do this, you may want to call the help desk instead. That's the 1-877 number that is handled by CoreLogic. They troubleshoot all the way. I monitor their calls on a monthly basis, and their average talk time is almost 10 minutes. So they do some in-depth troubleshooting to try and get your issue resolved. And if they don't, then I hear about it so I can look further into it. We covered it briefly, but after hours, look at the videos, or send us an email if you want to wait until tomorrow morning, and we can get in touch with you.
Okay, excellent. Well, Nathan, you've shared so much, some amazing features, some really great insights and suggestions that hopefully our members can take advantage of. Is there anything else that you want to share with our members today?
It's always just it's a great family environment that HAR is with our members and staff. And for those that haven't heard it before, all of the changes we make, everything you've seen here, everything you're going to see, it all originates from a member speaking up and saying something. And so I would just encourage you to speak up and say something. It may not get done now. It may have to get done later, but at least it gets onto our roadmap. And so I'm so thankful that our members speak up as much as they do. And trust me, we have a very vocal group, and I couldn't be more appreciative that we have that, because we welcome all feedback. And I'm just so honored that I get to be in this position and do this every day.
Very good. Well, thank you so much, Nathan. A comment just came in from Kevin. Always great to hear from Nathan. Rhonda said, thank you so much. You guys are awesome. So we truly appreciate that. And Nathan, of course, we always love having you on this program to give us these updates. And CJ just said so many great resources. Absolutely. So Nathan, once again, thank you for your time today. This has been really helpful for our members. If you're watching the replay of this, please know that you can still type in your questions and feedback and suggestions, and we will continue to monitor those throughout the week. So if you are watching the replay, submit your information for Nathan. We'll make sure he gets it. And thank you again, Nathan, for your time today.
Thank you very much. You'll take care.
Very good. Well, we will not have a Member Focus Monday next week, but we will be back the week of the 26th with another great topic for you. So be sure to tune in on the week of February 26th. And that is it for today. So have a great week, everyone. Bye-bye.